02 attacking. Roger. Falcon 02 attacking.
Ooh, I love the smell of DLC in the morning. Kinda smells a little bit like old leather, which is both comforting and slightly arousing. But that's enough about my kinks. This is Hours of Darkness, the first DLC for Far Cry 5 that Season Pass holders should be getting hold of very soon indeed. Or already have got hold of, depending on when you're watching this video, I guess. Anyway, perhaps you're in two minds whether or not you want to splash more cash on Far Cry 5's upcoming downloadable adventures. Maybe you've been let down by DLC in the past and want to know more before you take the plunge. Well, join me then for the following list of 9 things you need to know about Far Cry 5's Hours of Darkness DLC. Alrighty then, first things first, let's get the lowdown on the DLC. Hours of Darkness tells the story of Wendell Redler, an American GI who, along with the surviving members of his platoon, is captured after their helicopter is shot down in the jungles of Vietnam.
It's an ambush! Abort! Abort! Python 2-5! We're going down!
Now, if the name Wendell Redler seems familiar to you, it'll be because you've met him before. Wendell is the old man who sends you out to hunt down 12 lost Vietnam-era lighters in the main game.
I feel so goddamn useless.
Obviously, here you're playing a younger version of Wendell, and it's up to you to guide him through hostile territory in order to reach the designated extraction point so he can be rescued. As Hours of Darkness is a DLC mission set in Vietnam and not in Hope County, you'll be playing on a brand new map. Compared to the sizable map of Hope County, Hours of Darkness is pretty small, but like all Far Cry games, the whole thing is open world, so it can be played in whatever order and at whatever speed you want. The route to the extraction point is pretty linear. There's a winding route that you can follow, but to get the most out of it, you'll want to explore all the underground tunnels and visit all the bunkers hidden in the mountainsides. Being a highly trained soldier, Wendell has an enhanced survival instinct that gives him the edge in the jungle, but only if he can keep out of sight of any Viet Cong soldiers. Wendell's survival instincts are broken down into 4 perks, and he earns a new one after every silent kill he performs. The first perk, Adrenaline, allows you to move faster while crouched, and you'll auto-tag any enemies within 10 meters. The next perk is Ghost, that reduces the noise you make when moving, allowing you to close the gap on unaware enemies at a faster speed. Then there's Sixth Sense. This one will auto-tag any enemies that are starting to get a little bit suspicious, whilst at the same time making any nearby predators less likely to attack you. The final perk is called the Predator perk, but sadly that doesn't give you Jack Carver-style Predator powers. Instead, it auto-tags any enemies within 20 meters, whilst also allowing you to tag enemies through walls when using binoculars. If you can get all 4 perks active at the same time, it turns you into a proper killing machine. But if you want to stay like that, you'll need to remain undetected. As soon as any enemy soldiers get a whiff of your location, you'll lose all your perks and will then have to pull off 4 new stealth kills in order to regain them.
Python 2-5, better find some cover. This is danger close.
Wendell's survival instinct isn't his only unique skill though. He also has the ability to call in airstrikes. He can earn airstrike tokens by completing certain missions and can hold and call in a maximum of 5 bombing runs at a time. By looking through your binoculars and selecting your target, Wendell will radio for the bombs to drop, causing a devastating but spectacular looking series of explosions. Just make sure you learn from my mistakes and stand well back before you pull the trigger. Reaching the extraction point is Wendell's main mission, but it doesn't have to be his only goal. There are 7 challenge types to complete, each getting more and more difficult the closer to the extraction zone you get. The main one of these is rescuing your fellow GIs. There are 3 in total, and once you've liberated them, you'll be able to use them as guns for hire, just like you can with the characters from Hope County. Although, in my experience, that just means you'll be spending most of your time reviving them, so I tended to dismiss them as soon as I could. There's also South Vietnamese POWs to rescue,
Python 2-5, 1 Allied prisoner was located and released.
NVA commanders to kill,
Python 2-5, an NVA commander was neutralized.
and NVA camps to secure, which is just like liberating an outpost in vanilla Far Cry. Completing these missions will award you with intel that will uncover locations on your map, such as new settlements to explore, or the location of collectible lighters or propaganda speakers.
Give up before it is too late. Be smart. Save yourself.
Propaganda speakers like this one must be destroyed by any means necessary, whilst lighters can be found on the corpses of fallen GIs. Finally, you'll also need to destroy anti-aircraft guns. The AA guns will stop you being able to call in airstrikes, so it's best to try and find them and take them out before you attempt liberating any nearby NVA camps.
Tell those fighter jocks I just knocked out a gun especially for them.
Python 2-5, nice work. There's a flight of Navy fighters inbound if you can use them.
There's also a nice selection of era-authentic weaponry for you to snaffle from buildings and bodies, but not many of them come with a silencer attached, so if you're attempting to do a stealth run, it's probably best to stick to the bow and arrow for some nice, quiet kills. Don't forget to pick up the bamboo stick right at the start though. It may not sound that exciting, but it's hefty enough to finish off any opponent with one sharp bop to the top of the head.
Python 2-5, Allied troop located and released.
Considering Hours of Darkness is like getting to play through your very own Vietnam War movie, it would make sense that there's a few Easter eggs and movie references hidden away somewhere in here. I've only spotted one so far, which is this hut that's set out almost exactly like the one in Deer Hunter, where Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken have to play Russian roulette with a revolver.
Now we got ourselves a game. You and me. You and me. Now we got ourselves a real game.
Like most DLC offerings, Hours of Darkness provides only a few hours worth of gameplay. It took me about 3 hours to 100% the chapter on my first playthrough, but during that time I was concentrating on stealth as much as possible, so going in guns blazing would probably be much quicker. There's also added replayability in the 2 new modes that unlock once you complete Hours of Darkness for the first time. Survivor mode makes the game harder and gives you fewer weapons for a more authentic challenge, whilst action movie mode gives you additional weapon slots and the ability to call in airstrikes whenever you want, even in areas with anti-aircraft guns. It is worth pointing out that on my second playthrough I completed the game in just over 25 minutes by bypassing all the missions and literally running straight from the crash site to the extraction zone. This is great for time-strapped trophy and achievement hunters because you get separate awards for completing the DLC in normal, survivor and action movie modes, but it's not so great for all your buddies who are left rotting in bamboo cages. Oh, and it's also a bit bum for your ending because the fewer missions you complete, the worse your end scene will be. Now, technically this next point applies to everyone, even those without Hours of Darkness, but it's worth mentioning anyway as it's tied in directly with the DLC. Once the chapter launches, there will be an update for Far Cry Arcade, which adds Vietnam-themed assets to the level editor that everyone can use, Season Pass or not. You'll find the majority of the assets in their own little folder titled Far Cry 5 Hours of Darkness. There's loads of objects and structures for you to choose from, including segments of mines and military tunnels so you can make your own underground mazes, through to a selection of napalm-burned bodies. Ugh. Grim. On the plus side, with all these temples and bamboo structures, it's probably going to be really easy for Battle Royale obsessed map makers to recreate PUBG's upcoming Sanhok map. Here's hoping Bluehole doesn't try to sue them all. Ugh. To round this list off, it's also worth pointing out that loads of assets from Hours of Darkness also make their way into the main Far Cry 5 campaign. This means you can mess up Hope County with a bunch of Vietnam-era goodies. First up, there's weapons like the Hours of Darkness variation of the MP5 SD, which comes with a snazzy paint job and a silencer attached. There's also this SVD sniper rifle. It packs one hell of a punch and it sounds fantastic.
I've got this.
And how about this lovely M16 here, which can be upgraded with whatever sights, scopes and silencers you fancy. All these weapons and more are free to grab from any in-game store whenever you want.
Cover me!
It's not just guns that will give you Nam-style flashbacks though, there's also 3 new cars to choose from and a Viet Cong helicopter that, according to the game, you totally shouldn't use to shoot civilians with. Huh. Rules were meant to be broken, I guess. But wait, I'm not done yet. Fancy dressing up in some authentic uniforms from the Vietnam War? Well, pop on over to the special outfit section of the character customization menus if you do. Oh, and best of all, you'll even unlock a lovely little Hours of Darkness bobblehead for your dashboard. So just stick him in one of your cars and take the little cutie for a spin. Oh shit! Oh, who put that bloody rock there, for Christ's sake? Jeez, I'm so sorry, little buddy, I'm so sorry.
You have false hope. For every 10 you may destroy, 2 more will replace it.
And that's everything you need to know about Far Cry 5's Hours of Darkness DLC, or at the very least, it's enough to help you make up your mind about whether you want to buy it or not. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, do subscribe to Eurogamer for more Far Cry 5 DLC videos coming up in the near future, and before you go, why not check out some of these other Far Cry 5 videos that are on screen now. I'll love you long time. Goodbye.